and get to the next slide. So today, as a quick summary, we're going to learn basically, as you can see, about career interests and skills. That's repeated in here. So we are to learn about what those are and how we can reflect about our own interests and skills, understand their importance, and also, and that's probably going to be the best part of the session, we are going to be able to listen to experiences of alumni, UWS alumni, about how they've used those interests and skills to navigate their graduate careers. And also very important, in an induction session, you'll have time to ask any questions that you may have about careers, especially that's our area of expertise. But if you have any other questions about any other areas of the university or the university experience, please let us know and we'll do our best to answer those questions or direct you to the appropriate teams of people for that. So I think it's you, Cara, now.
Yes, thanks, Miguel. Can you just go to the following slide? Thank you.
Yes.
So yeah, as Miguel said, my name's Cara. I'm one of the careers advisors here at UWS. And what we want to do in this session is help you start thinking, as Miguel said, about your skills and your interests and how they might affect your career decisions. Now, one of our main messages as the careers department is to encourage you to use all of the opportunities that are available to you during your time at university to help build your profile so that you're ready when it comes to graduating and entering into the world of work. Now, I'm not going to cover all of the things in this slide. We'll send out the PowerPoint to you, or we'll put it in the chat if you can see that. But what we'd like you to think about is just how, what can you get involved in now that's going to build your skill set and that's going to prepare you well for entering into the world of work. So it might be that you have a career in mind, you know which direction you want to go in, you know what steps you need to take, but it might be that you have no idea yet and you've just started, you're in first year. And please still be thinking about different opportunities that you can get involved in, because each of those will contribute to you being able to just look more employable when it comes to graduating. There's lots of different things you can get involved in. You might have a part-time job. You might, maybe work in a cafe or a Tesco. That's a huge opportunity for you to develop your skills that are required for entering into the graduate labour market. You might be involved in volunteering as well. There's loads of opportunities if you're not volunteering yet. If you get in touch with the student union, they often advertise different positions. That's a great way, again, to really enhance your employability during your time at university. There's different things you can attend through the careers service. We put on lots of different events, like school-specific ones. If you're studying engineering, we put on engineering fairs or computer networking fairs, so you can speak to employers and really build your network. But we also have kind of university-wide ones with different individual employers that we invite in, or specific topics that we'll cover, like how do you get into teaching, for example. So keep an eye out for careers events as well on our website. There's lots of opportunities just at university in terms of getting involved in societies or maybe being a class rep. Again, those are all really good things that can appear on your CV and enhance your profile when it comes to getting into work. There's opportunities for placements and internships. Some of those will be through your course of study, and some of those the career service can help you apply for if it's not built into your program. And there's also lots of different awards that you can take part in. So we've got 3 there, and if you can see that orange box, the Volunteer Recognition Award, the Aspire Award, and the Employer Mentoring Award. And please do ask us questions about that. I know that's a really quick overview because this isn't the main topic of today, but we just really want to encourage you right at the start, as you start off again in this year, whether it's your first, second, third, fourth postgrad year, to really think about what can you be getting involved in during your time at university that's going to enhance your graduate profile. And please do get in touch with us because we'd love to talk to you about that more. I'll just hand over to Miguel to talk about the next section of our session.
Thank you, Cara. I think that was a great overview of things that you can join or get in touch with us for. So now we are going to go into the topic of today's session, and we are going to start about your career interest. This may sound a bit generic or a bit simple for you, but we cannot emphasize enough how important they are to be aware of our interest in careers. So can everyone, sorry, I think I'm gonna mute. Can everyone mute themselves, or can you, Cara, mute the person who is doing some noises? That sounds tasty, actually, but. So career interest. So we know about interest, things that we may like doing. So for example, I don't know, you may have your own interest, but perhaps watching Netflix is something that we have done, or watching TV shows on TV, that's something that we have all done a lot, perhaps too much during the last year. But there are also work activities, right? Those activities or tasks or responsibilities that we need to carry out as in a job. So for example, that may be writing a report or dealing with a customer, right? So in the confluence between these two are what we call career interests. So things that we would like to feature in a job and that we could be enjoy doing. Probably we are not going to be able to earn a living by watching TV shows, although there are people who do that, but we can find jobs in which the activities that we have to carry out are pleasant and enjoyable, and I think that should be a must for us, right? To try to search for those opportunities. So basically, as I said, career interests are things that we would enjoy doing in a job, and they are really key in order to have a successful career and to get the opportunities that we will enjoy and thrive in. Because employers, even more, according to all surveys, even more than even the skills, which is very, very important, and we're going to cover those afterwards, right after in today's session. On top of what employers value in a candidate when trying to get an opportunity or a job is motivation, is if the candidate is motivated towards the goal. And the only way that you are going to be motivated or that you are going to be able to prove that you really could be like doing that job could be by being interested in the things that you are going to do. This is because employers know that even if you don't have, at the point of applying for an opportunity, you don't have the right skills for it, if you are perhaps missing one skill for that job, if you are truly motivated and you, for example, really like to deal with customers or to help others or to another career interest like that, you are going to be able to develop probably that skill and you're going to get better at it. But the motivation is very difficult sometimes to change our motivations. And yes, a lot of people, I can't remember about the percentage, but I think it's about 50% that people working, having a job are not happy with it. So not taking into consideration what truly interests you in a career has a real risk, and that's that you may be unhappy in the jobs that you get, and that probably will have an impact on how successful you will be in order in getting new opportunities or advancing your career. Also, it's not as straightforward as being conscious about one thing that we like doing and trying to, for that element to be featured in a job. Sometimes it can be more complicated than that, but also more interesting than that. So for example, imagine that you are a person that like doing paintings, right? Or you like spending the time painting or being creative, artsy. Should you become an artist? Well, you may want to do that, and that would be a great choice, but you can also think about what elements in painting is that truly motivates you and try finding opportunities or in which those elements are reflected. So for example, perhaps what you like about painting is about being creative and thinking new stuff and creating new stuff. And that can be featured in a lot of different job profiles across all sectors or different roles, like for example, being a product designer, becoming a programmer or an advertiser, curator, teacher. I think there may be so many jobs that you can apply those creative skills. So that's probably the way that we should think about our career interests, things that we would like to feature in a job, not straightforward, but in a way of subcategorizing those interests. If you have any questions at any point, please let us know through the chat box. It would be great. One of our colleagues is having a look at the chat box, so you can ask us any question or perhaps wait until the end of the session, and there will be a space there for questions and answers. So just a bit more about career interest, and then we'll jump into the first activity of today. So your career interest may change over time, and it's not the same ones that we have perhaps after a few years or after we've had some experiences going on, for example, different jobs or after finishing your degree, etc. And it's sometimes difficult to find what truly motivates us. So some reflection is needed. Sometimes it's not that straightforward until, especially when we don't have many work experiences, we may not know what we enjoy doing in a job. So some reflection is needed. And we, of course, through booked appointments or through career sessions, we can help you in order to reflect about what is it that truly motivates you. And now we're going to do that in an activity, for example. So one thing that you can do in order to get to those interests would be about thinking about situations that you enjoy or activities that you enjoy doing, and thinking of ways in the way that we have seen with the painting example of transferring them into real jobs or opportunities. So, for example, if you like reading a book, perhaps you should think about what is it that you like from reading a book, and perhaps is that being exposed to characters' lives or things like that. So perhaps you are interested in others, and there may be so many opportunities working with other people that may give you the same kind of pleasure in carrying them out. Hopefully that makes sense. This is only meant to be an introduction to career interest and skills, but if you have any doubts, please let us know. So, for example, this is very well reflected in the things that we wanted to be while we were children. So, for example, these are the most common jobs that children want to be when they grow up. And it's funny because some studies have been carried out in which they have analyzed for children who want to be one or another job, have one or another job in the future, what jobs or sectors they actually end up working in. So, for example, you can see that if the children who want to be a veterinarian actually have ended up in sectors such as finance or pharmaceuticals. So it's interesting to see how our interests change over time, but perhaps we can identify elements that always were there. For example, in being a teacher, perhaps communicating to others, that could lead to a career in media or public relationships. So that change between what we thought or what we have considered in the past of becoming and what we are going to actually end up being or having the jobs for a while, that can give a clue about how career interest can change over time. So let's go into an activity. It says activity number 2 in here. So I think that's a mistake from my end because I think it's the first one, right? Unless I missed one of them. But anyway, let's focus on this. So what careers, I would like you to reflect a bit on this. So what careers have you considered in the past? It can be jobs that you thought that you would like to have when you were a child, or afterwards, perhaps when you were on secondary education. And I want you to think of ways in which those jobs connect with your current choice of discipline at UWS. And perhaps it would be interesting. For example, you may want to become an astronaut when you were a child, and now you are to become a scientist or singer and then teacher, and trying to find the ways in which those two jobs or careers connect with each other. If you've never had a career in mind, please think about what job you imagine yourself doing after you finish your studies. Please share your thoughts very briefly. We'll have a few minutes for this, but share your thoughts that don't have to be elaborate, just mentioning a few keywords on the chat box, and you can find that on the black bar as you can see on the image. You can share those on the chat box. That would be great. Okay, thank you, Dr. C, for sharing your interest. So you want to become a medical doctor, and then you are coming psychologist. Okay, so you want to become a veterinarian or a medical doctor, and you're a coming psychologist. So very close relationship between those, right? Okay. So always there's always been the need of working with others or helping others, and it's very close match. Want to be a medical or psych? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Anyone else want to share what they wanted to be when they were younger, or any ideas, career ideas that they have in the past, and how they may connect with your current degree at UWS? That's great, brilliant. So there's very close connection with what you want to be and what you have become. That's fantastic. No one else? Perhaps this is a bit difficult to do on a Monday morning. Okay, midwife nurse, but now looking towards social worker. Can you see previous iPhone? I'm gonna call you, that's a great nickname. Can I ask you if you see any elements shared within those two careers? Okay, can you? That's fantastic, Amy. Thank you for sharing. Can you see any connection between being a waitress and being a nurse? Perhaps skills or interests that will be useful for you with your experience as a waitress when you are become a nurse. For example, did you enjoy working with others or having some kind of customer service? Now is going to be very useful. Those communication skills and interpersonal skills are going to be useful when you qualify as a nurse, perhaps. Policy officer, a police officer, sorry. Okay, now then community education. Okay, if any of you, that's fantastic examples. If you can post that on the working with people, health sector. Okay, yeah, if you can do as precious and let us know of those connections between the job, that would be great. You can post that on the chat box, or you can perhaps reflect about that afterwards. Follow up around the management. Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Okay, that's great. Thank you all for sharing. That's the easiest part, letting us know what you thought in the past and now. Connection, caring for lives, yeah, but that's the difficult one. Trying to reflect and trying to make a connection about what is that we were interested in and what we are working towards. And you can apply that connection between the jobs that you have now and the opportunities that you want to seek for in the future, etc. Because that will give you an idea of what interests you and how you can use those interests when you are opting for new opportunities, etc. So thank you very much all for sharing your experiences and thoughts. Sorry, there was someone else. But I want to become a psychologist. Okay, that interrogation mark is great. If you have doubts about what you want to become or anything, you can always book an appointment with us and we can discuss that. That's fantastic. Okay, thank you all for the exercise. Let's continue. And now it's Cara's time again.
Great, thanks, Miguel. Could you possibly go to the next slide for me?
Yes.
We're just going to take some time to think about skills. So two main factors that play in kind of choosing your career and developing your career are your interests, as Miguel was saying, what you're interested in, but also what are your skills and what skills do you need to develop in order to get to where you want to be in terms of your career. Now, skills are a term that are used by employers, and it helps them understand when they're interviewing someone for the job, whether they're able to do it, whether they have the competency to do the job. And it's a really crucial part of recruitment. The good thing about skills is that you can develop them and adapt them and apply them to lots of different situations. It sounds like some of you have come from different backgrounds and are now studying something else, so you'll already be familiar with this, that skills that you have from something that you've already done, you can then apply to a different context. And we use them in all sorts of areas of life. So it might be that you have really good problem solving skills that you use just from maybe setting up your new iPhone or your new laptop, and you do that on a regular basis and develop that skill. But you also can use that skill within a work situation. So if you were asked by your boss to solve a problem quickly, you would be using the same kind of skill set to do that. So skills are used across a wide variety of situations, and we adapt them across lots of different situations. And they're a really key part of gaining employment. If you could go to the next slide, Miguel, sorry. Could you go to the next slide, Miguel? Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Cara, my laptop is a bit slow this morning.
That's fine, that's fine. So there's a difference between what we call technical skills and transferable skills. So lots of people will be doing a degree that requires them to develop a really specific knowledge base. So for example, if you're doing something like chemistry or if you're doing an IT kind of computing course, you'll be developing really specific technical skills for specific jobs. So some jobs will ask for those that technical skill set, but there are lots of other skills that we would then call soft or transferable skills, and all jobs will require these transferable skills, and they're not really role specific. They're more kind of attributes that you can develop through experience in different spheres of life. As I was mentioning at the start, during your time at university, it's a really good idea to try and develop your skill sets, your transferable skill sets. Now here are the top, if you could just go to the next slide, Miguel, the top 10 graduate skills according to the Target Jobs website. So I'll just read through those: commercial awareness, communication, teamwork, negotiation, persuasion, problem solving, leadership, organization, perseverance and motivation, ability to work under pressure, and confidence. So as you can see, none of those are kind of role specific for a set career and could be transferred across lots of different careers, but they are a crucial part of what employers are looking for in graduates. So it's a really good idea to take some time to think about, do I have these skills? How have I developed them? And which ones do I need to develop further in order to progress in my career? If we go to the next slides, we will see, so as I was saying, this employers will often ask you to demonstrate. So either in a job application or when it comes to an interview, they'll ask to really see if you can demonstrate that you have that skill. It's not just a question of saying, oh, I'm really good at teamwork, I'm really good at communication. What they want is for you to show how you've gained the skill, and to really talk through different examples of how you've used those skills. So please do think about the skills that you have and how you've gained them, and that's something that the Career Service are very happy to help you do. Keep looking for opportunities to develop your skill set during your time at university. And again, coming back to that first slide that I showed, there are lots of different ways to do that during your time at university. If we go to the next slide, you'll see a list of different, again, some of those are kind of the top 10 graduate ones with a couple more thrown in. It's a really good practice, whether you're in first year or in final year or in a postgrad, to really spend time reflecting on how you've developed specific skills and which ones you feel you're maybe lacking in or you want to work on and develop further. So say it came to a job interview and you had been asked about teamwork, and you maybe have volunteered as part of maybe a sports club, and you worked as a team to organize lots of different activities for children, and you worked really well to plan different activities, then that would be a really good example from a volunteering example on how you develop that skill. But maybe you're thinking, maybe if you're in first year, you're just starting university, you think, well, I've not really had to meet deadlines before. How would I demonstrate that? Well, that's a really good skill to develop during your time at university, thinking about maybe different modules that have different reports due at different times, and you have to meet the same deadline. How did you manage that? How did you manage that workload? And that's, again, a really good example of then having shown that you are able to meet deadlines. Maybe you don't have it yet, but maybe think about doing that and developing that skill during your time at university. We're just going to do another little activity. If we go to the next slide, if Miguel, you could share the word cloud. We're just going to have a little think about a skill that you maybe have already developed. If you could enter in, just type in, is that how this works, Miguel? Sorry, can you explain how Mentimeter works?
Yes, just follow these functions on top of your screen. So you have to go into, using your device, any device, you can go into menti.com, and then it will prompt you to enter a code, and the code is there for you on the top of the screen. Is 61832622. If you have questions about how to join this activity, please let us know in the chat box or by unmuting yourself. We are not that many.
Great. So if you go to that website and then enter in the skills that you think you already have developed. And if we could just go back, Miguel, to that, the blue boxes.
Sorry, which blue boxes?
Sorry, the slide before this, I think.
This one?
Yeah, that one. If you
sorry,
look at
the other thing is not a slide, so the instructions are on there. So, yep.
Okay, great.
So I can show one or the other. So do you want to cover this and then go back to the?
That's fine. It was just to have a list of the skills, but I'll put it in the.
Okay, okay.
Do you mind showing the code again, please?
Yes, I'll go back to that one. Do you want to remind them of the skills?
Yeah, I'll put it in, I'll put the skills in the chat box.
Is everyone okay with joining the activity, joining Mentee?
Yes, please. We're just looking for the skills, the list of the set skills.
Okay. Yeah. They're going to be typed on the chat box, but you can create your own. Like the skills that Cara is having are very common ones, like communication skills, organizational skills, teamwork. But you can have your own. You can think about the ones that you may have developed yourself. Any skills can do. So you don't have to phrase them in a correct way, for example. So you can perhaps say, I like, so I'm good at working with others, or etc. Or I'm a great team member, or I'm a very funny person. That's great. Someone has contributed with their skills. Thank you there for being contributing. Very interesting skills in here.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm sure Cara will agree, but some of these are always very valued by employers. They're always on the top list. For example, creativity, they say is one that is going to be more and more important in the future. Okay, that's fantastic. Teamwork, communication skills, problem solving are those ones that always appear on most job offers. Opportunities. That's great.
So in terms of skills that you think you've already developed, then you would probably have specific examples of when you've used them. So as I said, the example of maybe, or if you take like communication, if you've done presentations at university, for example, and you've already developed that skill. And what we're going to think about now is maybe skills that we could develop further or maybe haven't developed. So we're going to do a similar thing. Miguel, is it a different code or is it a different?
I'm not sure. Let me check. 1 second. Okay. No, it's the same code. I don't know how it works. Has it changed anything? Well, I'm also logged. Yeah, it says on your device to say the presenter has changed the slide. So if you go to the slide, it will take you into the new one. If you have lost connection with the activity, you have to enter the code again.
Great. And if we could just put in skills that you would like to develop further, maybe ones that you haven't used before in your past job or in your previous work history. And maybe what we'd really like you to take away from this session is how can I develop these during my remaining time at university, whether you're in first year or fourth year, what can you be doing? What steps can you be taking to develop these skills so that when it comes to applying to a graduate position, you're then able to eloquently put before an employer that you have developed this skill. So a few coming up there: timekeeping, attention to detail, confidence, efficiency, leadership. Okay.
I loved how timekeeping in the beginning was on such big font because I think it's something that we all want to improve. So.
Speaking fluently. Okay, lots of good examples here. Now it might be that, so some of you reading in the chat box have come back to university having already worked in a specific role. It might be that your university degree or academics are going to help you with this. or it might be that you want to look out for opportunities to develop these skills. So maybe your time management, that's something you can work on if you've got a part-time job and you're studying. How do you manage those? What kind of tools and tips can you do to manage both of those at the same time? Leadership, can you look out for a leadership opportunity, like even just being a class rep? That's a great thing to put on your CV. Speaking up for other people and communicating to a large group. What other ones are there? Teaching skills, are there opportunities that you can seek out in terms of mentoring or befriending, where you can maybe be teaching someone else? There's loads and loads of different things that you can get involved with at university, whether that's in the university itself and it's getting involved in societies or in specific things that your course offers, or whether it's kind of around university and there's maybe volunteering opportunities for you. Please do be looking out for those things and thinking about how you can develop those skills. And again, the Career Service are more than happy to discuss with you where you could look for those opportunities, how to apply for them, and how to work on developing these skills. We'd love to discuss that further with you. I think I'm passing over to you, Miguel, is that right?
Yep, that's great. Thank you, Cara. Oh, no, I think it's still you.
Oh yeah, last, okay, another activity.
Sorry, I'm going to the screen.
Thank you. We're just going to play a quick game. Again, this will involve you typing into the chat. One of the things that we really try and communicate about skills, certainly about transferable skills, is that they're not set for a specific career path. So it might be that you think, oh, this is my skill set and there's only one job that I can do with it. Actually, skills are they're called transferable for a reason, because you can use them in lots of different roles. So we're just going to play a quick game to think about how these different skill sets can actually be applied to different career or a different job description. So what I've done is I've got real life job descriptions here, and what I'd like you to do is read the job description and then put in the chat box just a guess as to what you think the job might be, and we'll see if it matches up with what people expected. So if we go to the next slide, this is the first job description, and the skills that are required are an ability to work under pressure, analytical and problem-solving skills, written communication skills with experience in crime reporting desirable, excellent attention to detail, and excellent IT skills. So if you could just type in the chat box what you think that might be. Any ideas? Just take a guess. There's no pressure in getting it wrong. Solicitor, reporter, CSI, emergency service operator, all very good guesses. Great. So as you can see there, already people are thinking different answers to this job description. Project leader. Miguel, if you could share, the answer was a cyber security analyst. So I think that job description probably lends itself to kind of solicitor, maybe detective, police detective jobs, but actually an interest in crime and as well as kind of problem solving analytical skills can lead to a cybersecurity analyst job, which is more kind of office based and computer based. So again, as you can see there, those skills can be applied to a wide variety of different career options. If we go to the next one, this is the next job description. So an ability to work under pressure, excellent graphic and photography skills, good business know-how, excellent communication skills, and customer service experience and skills. Again, so this is a real life job description. What job do you think this might be advertising? Again, just type it in the chat box. We've got product marketing, paparazzi, movie director. Any other ideas? Okay, maybe Miguel, if you could give us the answer to this one. It's a digital marketing assistant. So yeah, again, really good guesses. I think that job description kind of maybe sounds like it's maybe a graphic designer, but actually it's a digital marketing assistant, which is a different kind of role, but uses some of the same skill sets. We'll do another one, please, Miguel, if that's okay. Again, job description I found, it said knowledge of engineering principles and ability to read and create technical drawings. IT skills, attention to detail, mathematical skills to complete calculations and estimates, problem solving, creativity, and innovation skills. Any ideas as to what that job might be leading towards? An architect, good guess. Again, another architect guess. An analyst. RAF pilot. Really different, yeah, another architect. If we go to the answer, engineer, it was a computer-aided design technician, which is most closely related to engineering. But again, I think that job description maybe sounds like it's very much for an engineer, but actually it's for a specific role, which is a CAD technician. So again, different skills adapted to different career types. I think there's another one, Miguel. So knowledge of mental illness and psychological interventions, excellent communication skills, ability to provide excellent care, proactive and positive approach, confident in challenging situations. Any takers for what this one might be for? Psychiatrist again, mental health nurse. Yeah, good guesses. Any final guesses for this one? Another mental health nurse. So very much related. If we go to the answer for this one, it's a mental health support worker. So again, there are lots of different types of roles within mental health. So a couple of you have guessed psychiatrist, mental health nurse. Those are all within the same kind of field. But a support worker is a kind of different type of job, but requires similar skill sets. For example, to being a mental health nurse. If we go to the final, I think this is our last one, and then I'll just summarize this. So this is our last one: excellent communication skills, ability to speak clearly, calmly and confidently, a non-judgmental attitude, strong negotiation skills, ability to manage conflict and dispute, and legal knowledge. So any ideas of what this job description is for? A judge, a lawyer, procurement manager, social worker. Okay, yeah, really good guesses. Judge again, lawyer again. Great, yeah, thanks for all your guesses there. If we go to the answer for this one, it's actually a mediator. So again, what we'd really like you to think about is actually that there's a whole host of careers out there. Sometimes we think there's a very specific skill set that leads to one specific career, but actually there are different career types within different fields that require similar skill sets. So it's also to kind of help you think about your own career path and being flexible with that there's not just kind of one trajectory that you're on if you have a specific skill set, but you can adapt that to different types of work, and that your own interests and skills could be adapted across different career types. So hopefully it's just a kind of quick game, but hopefully it helps us think a little bit about how flexible career paths can be and how skills are so transferable across a wide variety of careers. I'm going to pass back to Miguel, I think, to finish off. So yeah, that was just what I was summarizing there. If you go, this is I think our last section, isn't it, Miguel? Before we then, we'll maybe have a quick break, and then we're going to invite in our alumni to talk about their own experience of university and the different skill sets and interests that they've used and adapted in their own careers. So over to you, Miguel.
Thank you, Cara. So yeah, this is the last section of what I label as the boring part of today, the one that we are learning from us, then it's going to be a bit more interesting with the alumni. But let me just, as a way of summarizing what we've seen, the way that we can combine the career interest and skills into different jobs. And we'll have a look at that. So perhaps the most important point of all this is, or the most practical one will be when you finish your studies, or by now, it would be easier for you to make career choices if you are aware of what you are good at and what interests you in jobs. So it's not something that you need to do now, perhaps, although it would be great that you can start reflecting about it. But the more that you become the more that you get new opportunities, for example, getting involved in the things that Cara was saying to you at university, or getting part-time jobs, etc., the more that you are going to be aware of your interests and skills in the professional workplace. Of course, as we have seen, different jobs and careers will require different interests and skills, but there is that flexibility that we've seen in the last activity that can be linked in those. So let's go quickly to the last activity of today before we hear from from alumni about their experiences. So I would like you to now think about combining what we've seen so far, the skills and interests, and now different jobs that you may be interested or not in them. So now we're going to go into this website, padlet.com, UWS Careers Jobs. I'm going to show that here. And we are going to try to make combinations very quickly before the break about combining these skills, interests, and different jobs into different ways, okay? So if you can go with your devices into this page in here, padlet.com, UWS Careers Jobs, you're going to be able to see three different columns. One is for the skills, very common skills that are required in different jobs. Another one is for interest, things that may interest you from a job. For example, working in teams, or helping others, or using your initiative, etc. And this is a list of common graduate jobs. For each one of these columns, you can add your own skills, your own interests, and your own jobs if you don't see any of them reflected in here. And what I would like you to do is, by clicking the plus symbol in here, is to add a sentence. It doesn't have to be to follow this model, but it could be great if you can combine these three columns into a sentence of the kind of this one, of this sample one. Like, for example, having a curious mind, and we've got that from the skills, and having an interest in generating knowledge is very helpful for becoming, for example, a good university lecturer. So if you can do that, those combinations, it doesn't have to be well written, and you don't have to think this over for a long time. If you can add a few of them into this column, that could be great. And once that we got a few, we can discuss those, and we can go into a break, probably about 10-minute break before we go into the second part of the session today. If you have any questions about how to join Padlet or how to do this activity, please let me know. Oh, thank you. Now you have shared the website. Yeah, that was better. Thank you very much. I see that some of you are already writing your combinations into the fourth column, sorry. Okay, someone has habit, negotiation, has a skill. It was already here, but thank you for adding it. But the interesting thing is that if you can combine the skills in interest and jobs in each one of the columns into one here, like someone has just done, perhaps now it's clearer. So communication and helping others would be great for becoming a charity fundraiser. Yeah, I agree with that. That's fantastic. Perhaps someone wants to use communication as a skill with another job, and we can see in a very effective way how different skills apply for the same jobs and the other way around. So I'll give you some time for this, because I see that several of you adding your combinations in here. So again, the way that this works is by clicking on this Add Post button in here below your combinations title. So you don't really need to use the 3 columns on the left, but only the ones that is titled your combinations, and then clicking in there the plus button. As you can see, if you can have a look on the list of the skills and interests, most of them are reflected in here, including problem solving, negotiation, or helping others. And also, of course, we are not that many today. So if any of you want to unmute themselves and just do a quick combination speaking, that would be also great. Look at that, we got another one on the combination column, and it's using communication, being good at communicating with others and good at working with teams. That could be great for becoming an adult nurse. That's fantastic. Working in teams would be an interest in there, I think, right? So being great at communicating with others and having an interest in working in big teams, that could be something essential for becoming an adult nurse. That's fantastic. If someone else also prefers to use the chat box, back to Zoom for giving us their combinations, that's also okay. And I'll leave a few more minutes for this, but then we'll shortly go into a break. Sorry, I'm gonna delete these ones in here. Well, I'm gonna put this on top so people still see the comments. Okay, someone else has contributed with a combination. So an interest in current affairs and using one's initiative as a skill would be great for becoming a journalist reporter. Yeah, I agree. I think it's fantastic how you are having very right ideas about which skills. It sounds like those skills and those interests that you are pinpointing in here are truly essential in for those roles and sectors that you are referring to. So that's fantastic that you have been able to see that very quickly, because that will help you. For example, if you want to become a journalist, you know that you have to develop that interest and to prove that interest probably, and to develop that skill or using your own initiative. So first thing is being aware and reflect about which skills and interests are needed in a particular role that we may be interested in. Lots of you are still writing and are still trying to add your combinations in here. So I'm gonna give a few more minutes for you to be able to do so. Look at that. Is it one of you, one of my 2 careers advisor colleagues who have added that? Or is it one of you participants? But yeah, you are absolutely right. Perhaps having discipline. Okay, we should apply. I should apply that to myself then. And helping others, I think definitely an interest in helping others is a must. And for example, every time that you go into a job interview for a career advisor role, perhaps that's one of the main things that is going to be around during the interview questions, like, are you motivated towards helping others? That would be a must to have if you want to get, for example, a job as a career advisor. So well identified, especially if it wasn't one of my colleagues. Okay, I see some of you are still writing for having your combinations, but so the official time for the break has been decided right now, and it's going to be from 12 to 5 past. So it's going to be a 5-minute break, and we're going to be back at 5 past for listening to the alumni experiences, and then also having some space for you, for those of you who haven't done so, to have any questions that you may have about careers or the support services at the university, etc., in the second part of the session. So you can stay, you can keep in here, writing your combinations, or you can go straight to the break now and come back, please, at 5 past. Look at that one, last one, written communication, being good at that, and being interested in generating knowledge. Yeah, I think those skills and interests will make a great writer. That's great. Thank you so much. We will share the recording with you, so you'll be able to access this Padlet board that is called, and you can keep on reflecting or adding your own combinations afterwards. Thank you very much, and see you at 5 past.